Welcome to Bay State Golf. I'm Sean Melia. I'm trying to play every golf course in the state of Massachusetts. That's public, private, 9 holes, 18 holes. Since June of 2020, I have played 154 out of about 350. Today's episode, I'm going to tell you about Taconic Golf Club in Williamstown, Mass, and why it's one of my favorites that I have played over the course of the last 5 years, and why I think you should travel to play it if you live far from Williamstown, and why it's definitely worth the money. Before we get into talking about Taconic, please subscribe to this channel. Please like this video if you want a little bit more of what I'm doing to highlight golf courses around the state of Massachusetts. You can also find all my reviews and writing on Instagram at baystate_golf. I have a newsletter. Every Friday, I send out some updates on golf, competitive golf around the state. Also share some thoughts about courses I've played and anything else that's on my mind about golf, and some weekly favorites from off the golf course, things I've read, eaten, had to drink, watched, listened to over the last week. A nice way to put a bow on the week. And if you'd like to be a paid subscriber to help support what I'm doing, you can do that, and you get some more posts each week, which are sometimes previews of events coming up. You get my reviews early there as well, with some additional thoughts and additional photos that no one else gets other than the paid subscribers. Let's get into Taconic Golf Club. It is one of my favorites. I've done these spotlights about some courses all over the state, and I've been telling everyone that they need to go play Taconic, so I figured I should make an official video about this. Just know that however long this video ends up being, it could be twice as long, because I could talk about this golf course all day. Just like the other spotlights, I'm going to give you a little bit of the history of the place, tell you about what the identity of the golf course is, talk about some holes that I really like, maybe a few things that I don't love. Even at places that I love, there's always, those little things you can nitpick, and then just kind of wrap it all up and talk about rates, what it costs to play there, and all that kind of stuff, and how to get a tee time, especially at Taconic. So, like I said, Taconic is in Williamstown, Massachusetts. The golf course as it kind of consists today and what it looks like today was opened in 1928. There's more to that story, which I will share with you in a moment. It was designed by Stiles Van Kleek. It is a semi-private golf course that you can call 5 days in advance to get a tee time. If you are an unaccompanied guest and you just want to play kind of as a public person, you pay $180. The price does go down if you know people who are affiliated with Williams College. If you know a member, it's about $60 if you play with a member. And so there's some different ways to maybe get on the golf course. The course is owned by Williams College, and that's where the history comes in here. The website has a bunch. I'm going to read some of it out to you and kind of paraphrase a little bit as well. But it's a worthwhile thing to check out on their website just to see the history of the place in general. Golf was originally played at Taconic starting in 1896 when Howard Doty, James M. Ide, and Edward C. Gale were granted permission by Williams College to put 3 tomato cans on the Weston Athletic Field, which is right now close to where the 18th hole is. In honor of the 125th anniversary of the golf course, Taconic put together a kind of a cool logo that is a tomato can. I have a vest with it on, and people always ask where the logo is from what it represents. It almost looks like it could be from a bespoke logo that was made for a specific trip, a guy's trip or something, but it is the Taconic 125th alternate logo. It's very cool, and that tomato can represents the 3 that started the golf course in 1896. Here's a quote from the website about kind of what happened after those 3 tomato cans were put into the ground. Quote, "That summer, Henry N. Sabin and James Bullock joined the group. Mr. Gale paid Mr. Sabin $55 on September 5th, 1896 to start Taconic Golf Club. A few weeks later in the same year, the first real course was laid out. It was a 7-hole course. One of those holes, the present 17th, is the oldest at Taconic and perhaps as old as any in the country. Dues in those days were $20 per year. In 1897, A longer 9-hole course was laid out on property owned by William Howard Doty. The same year, the Whitney Sampson House on South Street was made into a clubhouse. It served as the Taconic Clubhouse until 1955. So with that 9-hole course, George Alfred Cluett, who graduated from Williams in 1896, decided in 1927 he wanted to actually provide a top-notch golf course for Williams College students. He got some land through some different deals, got some from farmers nearby. He got some from the college and kind of concocted and put together all this land where Taconic now sits. They hired Stiles and Van Kleek to come in and design the golf course in 1927. And in 1928, the golf course was built. On Labor Day of 1928, the golf course opened. It was a par 73. In 1955, the course was revised to 6,640 yards from the back tees and a par 71, and they moved the clubhouse to its current location where it is today on Meacham Street. Richard Baxter was the head pro and the groundskeeper. He helped and built the whole golf course, a really important person in the history of Taconic. In 2008 and 2009, Gil Hanse came in and did some work on the golf course to kind of restore it and bring it back to its original glory, and something he's very good at. And kudos to Taconic for getting Gil Hanse out there in 2008. He was just growing at that point and definitely not as popular and as desired as he is now. So that was a pretty forward-thinking move by Williams College to get him out there to bring the course back to its original form. So that's the history of the place. Let's talk about playing there. I first played there in 2020, and I think for me, the identity of the golf course. I've been back a few times. It's a place that I've made a point to try to play, every couple years. I think I've played it 3 times since during my quest, so twice since I checked it off in August of 2020. The identity of the place is a fewfold. First off, it's attainable championship golf. And what I mean by that is not that it's public, which is part of the attainable, I guess. It's the fact that it's long enough from the proper tees. You can stretch it out and make it really, really tough on yourself. If you're a scratch golfer, you can show up and be certainly challenged. If you want to play from forward tees, it will also challenge you. So it's attainable, and you can play, any sort of championship golf you want. The greens are tough. They are challenging to putt. They are severe. They're sloped. A lot of them are kind of sitting on and benched into hills because you are in mountainous, you're kind of sitting under the mountains and in the foothills of the mountains out at Williams College. That means you have a bunch of uneven lines. You have a lot of downhill tee shots, a lot of uphill shots. You're playing in and around a little bowl as you play the golf course. So there's parts where you're kind of playing in the middle of the bowl. There's parts where you're kind of sliding around the edges of the bowl as well. And it's just, that kind of makes it a challenging golf course as well. The setting is the other part of this golf course's identity. In the fall, you get lovely foliage. In the summer, you just get kind of vibrant green colors. You're out in the mountains, like I said. You're also in the middle of a college campus. I've played there during game days when you can hear field hockey games going on, football games going on, the national anthem playing as you're walking around the golf course as they're getting ready for games, whistles, cheering, all that kind of stuff. So it's got a nice setting. It's also a little quieter in the summer because students aren't necessarily on campus. And Williams College is just a beautiful place, and you can walk from the golf course into campus, into the main street. You're parking your car right next to the school's track. So you feel like you're kind of on a campus when you're there. It's not very, very far from it at all. And then the last thing is just the simplicity. It is a golf club. There is no driving range. There's a net out back. There's a little chipping green near the first tee box. There's a big putting green that blends in with the 18th green, which is kind of cool. There's a little patio. This clubhouse is just very, very straightforward. Great pro shop. So just the simplicity I've found over this quest, going to golf clubs instead of a country club, and country club in my mind would be somewhere where there's a pool or there's tennis, and being at a golf club that just has a golf course you know everyone is there to play golf. It has a different feel to it, and I've grown to appreciate that as a different kind of club. And I like going to places where, you know, if you're walking into the same place, you're walking in there with someone who is likely going to play golf. Super laid back. Dogs on the patio as well, so you could walk in as just a public person and have lunch at the club if you wanted to. You don't have to have a tee time to do that. So pretty open place to be. Like I said, if you do want to play the golf course as a public person, you can call the pro shop. You can't make tee times online. You can call them 5 days in advance. Members are going to have priority weekend mornings. When I played in August of 2020, I played a 4 o'clock tee time on a Saturday by myself, just walked the course as a solo, and it was an amazing afternoon of golf. They let me out even a little earlier than my tee time. I think I had a 4:30 and was just hoping to kind of get my 18 holes in, and I definitely did. The rate, like I said, is $180. I'll put the whole kind of breakdown here, but as you can see, the prices go down if you know someone who works at Williams, if you know someone who went to Williams, if you might know a member. And I've been fortunate enough to play with a member the last few times I've gone who found me on Instagram, invited me out, and I just pay him $60 and we go and enjoy Taconic. But it certainly is one of those places that people think they can't play, and you absolutely can. It is absolutely worth $180 if you are someone who likes to go play a couple nice places a year. You've got your local spot you love to play, and you enjoy splurging on a place. Taconic is absolutely one of those places. I did an Instagram survey asking people where they think what the splurge-worthy courses are in the state. Pine Hills kind of ran away with it, but Taconic was up there as well as a place that I think a lot of people like to go play. Not a lot of people make the trek out there. Totally worth it, and you can go and play it. I've done like a 36-hole video where you can go play Taconic and Wabika, and I'll put a link to that on the video as well. I did a bunch of different 36-hole days, and that was one of them. So you can go watch that video too if you're looking for a little trip out to the west or another part of the state for a 36-hole day or a weekend trip. Holes of note, holes that I like. I could talk about all 18 holes. Maybe there'll be some day down the road where I would actually just make a hole-by-hole video of Taconic. The third hole is the first one that kind of comes to my mind. It's really the true welcome to Taconic. The first 2 holes are good holes, the par 5 opener that you can make a birdie on for sure, make an easy par. The second hole, you're hitting downhill and then uphill to a pretty tough green. The third hole, it's all in front of you. You've got the mountains in the backdrop really for the first time, aside from the first tee shot, I guess. But you really feel like you're playing Taconic at that point. You got trouble down the right. The fairway kind of cambers to the right. A little bit of trouble down the left. And the green is perched up with a good false front, slope back to front as well. You got to hit 2 really good shots here to make a par and get to the 4th hole. So the third hole is my first one. It is a 421-yard par 4, so it's a good poke. It's a good 2 shots if you want to get there. It plays pretty flat too. You're not going to get a ton of extra yardage on the downhill part of the tee shot because it's not too far downhill. But a really good hole. And for me, kind of the start. Feels like the start of the round. The rest of the front 9 has you climbing. You play a little target golf on 4, but 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 are all pretty good holes. 9 is a funky little par 3, kind of set down in a hollow. I like every hole here, so we're gonna skip ahead to the back because I do think the back 9 might be one of the best back 9s in the entire state, public or private, wherever you want to slice it. People love Essex County Club, another really, really good back 9. The gripe might be the 13th and possibly the 14th after they had to move that green because of neighbors complaining. But this back 9 is really good. It's really strong. It's challenging, especially if you play from the back or you're going to expect to play some long par 4s. It's just a really, really good test of golf. The 12th hole is the first hole that I want to talk about here. Awesome tee shot that you have to hit over this, I guess we're going to call it a barranca, but it runs along the left side of the hole diagonally across from the players on the tee box. You can favor the left side as much as you want. It's a 377-yard hole. It's a par 4. There's a fairway bunker that frames the outside part of the hole and that part of the dogleg, which I guess it is kind of it is a dogleg hole. And there's also a stand of trees, which I would love to see cut down, to be honest with you, because they do block shots even if you are in the fairway on the right to certain parts of the green. The green has been softened. It was pretty severe, and if you were on the back part of it, you could putt it off the front pretty easily. There is a little kind of catch slope in the back right corner that you can use possibly to get close to a pin or use it to kind of slingshot your ball back a little bit. And now it's just safer to do that because the ball isn't going to climb up and roll literally all the way off the front of the green. But the 12th hole, really dramatic tee shot, especially one where you're playing a lot of holes where you are hitting downhill tee shots. This one is a kind of uphill. The landing spot is a little bit blind. You got a little risk reward where you want to try to hit your tee shot, and just a really good hole. And then you get to 13, speaking of downhill tee shots, really picturesque hole. You've got some farmland out of bounds on the left side of the hole. The hole slopes hard from left to right. If you want a good look at the green, you've kind of got to hit down the left side, but it's really hard to do. And you got to be brave and skilled. Most players are going to hit towards the right. That's where I typically end up. No bunkers until you get maybe 40 yards from the green. And those bunkers can catch balls that are maybe punch outs from the right trees or just poor shots from any spot in the rough. There's kind of one pop bunker sitting in the, not pop bunker, but a pretty deep bunker sitting in the middle of the fairway there, maybe 40 yards away. And then up near the green, there's some more bunkering. Long, skinny green that requires you to pick the right club distance-wise. Another one that got softened because it had a pretty good slope from left to right that made it kind of challenging, just worked with the land because that land is pretty severe. But really, really good hole. You get to that green and you can see out across most of the golf course and onto the campus and see some of the spires on campus and the high points. Just a really lovely spot up there once you have hit the green. And then the last hole I want to talk about is the 15th. It is a 441-yard par 4. Another really cool tee box setting. You're up high. You're looking down over a lot of the golf course. You just played 14, which kind of plays along the edge of that bowl like I talked about. There's a rock that marks a hole-in-one that Jack Nicklaus made in the U.S. Junior back in the 50s. I believe in the 50s. I don't have it right in front of me, so I will correct it if that's not the case. But it was a long time ago, and he made an ace there. So you play 14, and then you get to 15, and you have this lovely view. The mountains are in the background. It's a long hole, 441 yards, but you get some extra yardage just because you are hitting the ball downhill. All these yardages are from the tips. Just a really good hole. You've got some bunkers to deal with. You've got some trees on the left. If you swing a little too hard and hit it left there, maybe hit a hook, you're going to have a hard time getting your ball onto the green. Some space right. And then the green is kind of blind because it's sitting just high enough up. So you're just can't see the landing area, can't see the putting surface. Another really good green up there. And then, you get ready for 16, 17, 18. 16 is another bear of a par 4. 17 is a bear of a par 3. And then 18 is a nice get-home hole, par 5. A nice opportunity to make a birdie and have a good taste in your mouth after playing a really tough stretch, especially 11 through 16. That stretch of golf is hard. It's challenging. It's long. The greens are tough. You're climbing up and down. So 18 is a nice little closer there. But that back nine is just stupendous. It's only fair to mention a few things that maybe I don't love about Taconic, or things that I don't even think these are room for improvement because you can't really change them. They're just things I've noticed, things that have been brought to my attention by other people as well. When I play a golf course and I don't like it, I find things that I do like about it. Vice versa, if I play a golf course that I love, I'm going to nitpick a little bit and try to find some things that maybe I didn't like or that could be better, or that are just kind of warts that can't be removed, and that's fine too. That's what's great about golf. The first thing is there are some tee shots where you're hitting kind of downhill into that bowl and then back uphill. 13 is a good example. The 7th hole is a good example. The 8th hole is a little bit of an example of that. 15, 16, those holes that run through the middle of the golf course and along the edge where you are getting the most kind of elevation change from tee box down to fairway, back up to green. That can feel a little bit monotonous at times, but that's one nitpick. It can't be changed. That's just how the land works out there. But it is for all the up and down. It's an easy walk. So that's the nice part about it. You don't feel like you're really fighting the land ever when you're out there. The 4th hole is probably the funniest walk of the round. You play the 3rd and you almost walk maybe 200 yards back to get to the 4th tee. The trick is when you're on the 3rd green, you can leave your bag by a little bridge that crosses a stream that's just to the left of the 3rd hole and 3rd green that also runs along the left of the 4th hole. And you can leave your bag there. You can hit your tee shot with whatever club you want to bring back with you. And if you hit a good enough tee shot, you're going to be kind of in the fairway in that section, and you can just grab your bag so you don't have to hoof it all the way down and all the way back if you're a walker. Just kind of an awkward little spot on the golf course. Not my favorite hole on the golf course either, but that's one thing. And I think I mentioned the 12th hole as a hole I really like. I think it's super dramatic. It's a really unique tee shot. But there is a stand of pine trees that if you want to avoid the barranca, if you're a player that's just, and this is at any level, if you want to play just safer down the right side, those trees just come into play. They're there to kind of protect people who are on the 8th tee box, I believe, which kind of wraps around the same piece of the golf course there and gets people back towards the clubhouse. 12's bringing you away from the clubhouse. But those trees I don't particularly think are very useful in either case. I don't think they're really protecting anybody. I don't necessarily know how many people are hitting shots into those trees. They are just enough out of the way off the 12th hole, but once you get the ball in the air, they do kind of protect some of the part of the green. You can be in the fairway and even have a hard time. So that's one thing that could be fixed, a wart that could be removed. But the other two are they're just quirks of the place or things that kind of people might pick apart as far as what they don't like about the golf course. With those things being said, Taconic is one of the best courses in the state. And I hope that this video and the visuals that I've shared give you a reason to get some buddies, get some friends, get in a car, and drive the 2.5 hours to play golf. There are places that you can stay in Williamstown. You could play 36 holes. You could make a little weekend of it. But it is absolutely a place that is worth checking out, worth paying $180 for. There are other golf courses in the state that are close to that price that I think pale in comparison as far as the experience you get, as far as the simplicity of the place, as far as just the vibes and the views and the setting and just the kind of getting away from maybe the Metro West, even Central Mass popular golf courses. This is just another level, and for $180, you can replay it, I believe, for $100. So if you want to go play 36 holes, you can play it for $280, and that kind of brings down the price if you're willing to go hoof it for two rounds in a day. And that would mean if you played it twice in a day, you get to play that back nine twice, which, like I said, is just one of the best nines in the state. I absolutely love it. I think about it all the time. I think about some of those holes, some of the shots that I've hit. And when you're driving to that golf course after you've already played it, that's the side that you're thinking about. Those are the shots that you're thinking about hitting. Dramatic shots, tough shots, long shots. You get a nice little short par 4, 14th in there. You get a really tough 17th hole. You get a good par 5 closer that you can make a birdie on. Just a really awesome mix of holes that are really, really good. And I love it out there. So have you played Taconic? In the comments, do you agree with me? Do you think it's worth the trip? Do you think it's worth the price of admission to go play Taconic? I personally think it absolutely is. You might disagree, and that is completely fine. I know some people have their own reasons for wanting to spend money at a golf course, and places like Pine Hills or Shaker Hills or Granite Links might be more of your speed, and that's completely fine. Personally, for me, Taconic is the place I would go if I had $180 to spend and a day to make a trip out there. So let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks again for subscribing, for liking this video, especially if you're new here. Welcome to the crew, and we will see you next week with another video. on Bay State Golf.